Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show, and I'm here to discuss politics. And let's talk about the January 6th hearings. We've been not really talking much about that issue. In fact, I had very little to say about it, other than you're hearing me occasionally talk about the January 6th insurrection that took place last year. And you've heard my take before on the January 6th insurrection. And so I just want to start with something that kind of gets on my nerves from many liberals. And that is this the enemy of my enemy is my friend mentality that exists. Just because Donald Trump is this orange creature that everybody is scared of does not mean you have to sit there and rehabilitate Liz Cheney. The only thing about Liz Cheney that might have some where she could redeem herself is that at least that she believes in the concept of democratic governance, small d, within the borders inside the United States. It'd be kind of nice if she believed in that in other countries. But her neoconservative family love to cause havoc around the world. They just don't want it done here at home in the United States. And that's, but at least she doesn't want it done here at home in the United States. Whereas, Donald Trump, I'm not going to say that Donald Trump was like, conniving with the powers that be that were working with the Stop the Steal rally and what have you. We're going to let this hearing basically decide that whenever it ends and all of this. But what I have to say, though, is that there's too much of the enemy of my enemy is my friend mentality. Robert Reich deleted a tweet earlier where he's talking about having her as a possible presidential candidate. And I have to ask to former Secretary of Labor Robert Reich, are you out of your fucking mind? This woman voted as a member of Congress into Wyoming, I believe is at her congressional seats at large in Wyoming. She voted with Donald Trump a large portion of the time on his agenda. So, I mean, that speaks volumes right there. If she's voting for his tax cuts for the wealthy that none of us are going to benefit from, if she's voting for basically all the other crap, the okaying of the judges and things of that nature, she's voting for all these things, then, what good of an ally is she, really? I mean, honestly. She would probably, she'd probably be maybe slightly to the right of Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin. We got too many of that in the Democratic Party already. No thanks, no thanks, no thanks. But anyhow, I'm just wanting to say we need to kind of be careful about glorifying people who, just because, they one time, they're right now seemingly on the side of what one could regard as side of good. You need to take into account things in the past. So that's what I have to say about Liz Cheney. I don't consider her an ally. I don't consider her a friend in any way. And even from I mean, my God, I mean, Donald Trump is more pro-LGBTQ than she is. She doesn't even fully accept her younger sister, Mary, for being lesbian. At least Dick Cheney does. So what does that tell you? But, with this whole thing about the insurrection that took place, I mean, it's not a pretty picture. I mean, honestly, I work graveyard shift, and when it happened last year, and I woke up and I watched the news, and I'm just like, holy crap, is this really going on? I mean, I know that these people would not have been successful in taking over the damn country. I mean, my God, if they actually did put a stop to this so-called steal, and let's go and nip this in the bud. They're going to nip it in the bud like it is. I did not vote for Joe Biden in 2020. I didn't vote for Donald Trump either. And want to make this clear. When you didn't vote, when you have a two-party system and you don't vote for either candidate, what does that mean? It means that you voted for neither candidate because neither candidate spoke to my concerns. Donald Trump obviously didn't speak to my concerns. Joe Biden, who's supposed to speak to my concerns, did not speak to my concerns. So I voted third party as I normally do in each presidential election. So there is that. Having that said, I'm going to have this settle because unfortunately, there's just always too much of a doubt in our society about things that should not even be doubted. And that Joe Biden, whether you like the guy or not, I don't like Joe Biden. I can't stand the man. He won the election. There was no significant stealing that went on the Biden side, nor on the Trump side. Yeah, I mean, for that matter, during the election. There are infractions on all sides during elections, but there weren't any significant actual stealing that went on and all of that. Now, we can argue about the year 2000. We can argue about the year 2000 with regard to the ballots in Florida. And again, no dog in that fight, because as much as I hated George W. Bush, I was not really a fan of Al Gore either. But objectively, Al Gore won that race in 2000. But but he's of the same cloth as George W. Bush in a lot of ways. So we would have had the same, probably pretty much almost the same shit with President Al Gore as we would have had with George W. Bush. Remember who was the vice presidential candidate on the Democratic side in the year 2000? Joe Lieberman, who I always call the Bush-Cheney faction of the Gore-Lieberman ticket. So there is that. We would have been in Afghanistan. We would have been in Iraq had that happened. So, again, there was not have been really any significant difference. Honestly, we would probably been a little more liberal and a little less. We would have had a little bit less nagging by evangelicals in political positions in governments, in our government that unfortunately that we had to deal with during the Bush years. But that would have been the big difference. But other than that, I mean, they were pretty much fundamentally the same. But Donald Trump lost the election in 2020. He won the election in 2016. The liberals had a meltdown in 2016 and said that Donald Trump was cheated. I mean, Hillary Clinton was cheated, and Donald Trump only won because of the assistance of Vladimir Putin. That is not true. Vladimir Putin, nor did Russia, put Donald Trump in the White House in 2016. In the year 2020, China and Venezuela did not put Joe Biden in the White House that year either. I just want to get these things out of the way because there's a lot of conspiracy theories that flows around these days, and it's a sad state of affairs that it could divide the country. Now they're talking about what happens if Donald Trump is prosecuted as a result of these hearings. I'm going to tell you, I doubt that anything's going to happen to Donald Trump. I really doubt it. I doubt it on several fronts. One, I don't think he was directly involved with what happened with regard to the January 6th insurrection. Two, most of the people that were in the House and then the Congress storming in were caught up in the emotions of the rally. A majority of them probably wouldn't have done that otherwise. The people to go after are people who were active in regard to the Stop the Steal rally, and some members of Congress that were collaborating with them to go and try to go and put a stop to a small d democratic process that has been going on since the founding of this country with regard to certification of our candidates. Basically, the crossing of the T's, the slashing of the T's and the dotting of our I's. And the thing about it is that Mike Pence, who I do not care for, did the right thing and would not sit there and buckled under pressure of Donald Trump. And he had to do what he can to do to certify the election. And he didn't want to do it, but I mean, it was the right thing to do. Donald Trump was being a sore loser, just like Hillary Clinton was being a sore loser. Hillary Clinton was a sore loser in 2016. It was embarrassing watching a lot of Hillary Clinton's supporters lose their shit in 2016. Donald Trump supporters lost their shit in 2020, and they acted like crybabies too. Both the hardcore Hillary Clinton base and both the Donald Trump base acted like crybabies. And in some ways, the Donald Trump supporters were a little worse because they actually tried to go and break into the halls of Congress to try to put a stop to Joe Biden becoming president. Now, I mean, if there was any real cheating that took place, I mean, I'm going to put some blame on Democrats on some kind of a cheating, and that was cheating against Bernie Sanders in 2016, 2020. But I'm sure the Donald Trump supporters, they were either glad that happened or don't care. So there is that. So I don't think there's really going to be a lot that's going to come out of this. But I also think that one other reason that I think that they're doing this is window dressing. And that is basically to appease the left. In other words, that's what it comes down to. I mean, Joe Biden became president. He's not really done shit. He's let the left down, and what people constitute or perceive as the left. What people perceive as the left, and by left, I mean, they know that, or they, in the back of their mind, they know that there is a significant faction in the Democratic Party that are pretty damn pissed with him right now, and with justification. Of course, these people, I'm talking about Bernie Sanders, I'm talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I'm talking about the snake, Elizabeth Warren, basically not being too happy with Joe Biden's performance as president. Well, here's the thing. They needed to apply pressure, and they would not do it because they don't want to be written off as some Ralph Nader troublemaker or some Jill Stein troublemaker. And they reap what they sow by trying to play too nice with the system. But this is a piecemeal. This congressional hearing is supposed to be a piecemeal to people like myself who are really pissed off that Biden's done absolutely next to nothing. Absolutely, probably less than nothing. I don't even know why the Republicans are so upset with Joe Biden. I mean, they got the Mitt Romney they never had with Joe Biden. I mean, they got the John McCain they never had. They got the Bob Dole they never had. That's pretty damn conservative for me. And some people will be like, you think that's conservative? I think Joe Biden is conservative. I think Bill Clinton and Barack Obama is conservative. I do. I think Nancy Pelosi is conservative. And I'm at a point where I'm not going to say conservative, but I'm going to say that about the snake, Elizabeth Warren. She's too conservative. AOC and Bernie Sanders, however, are too moderate at this point. So, I mean, it's where I stand. And nothing's going to happen because if they go after Donald Trump when the Republicans take over in Congress in November, which is the likely outcome, they're going to go after Joe Biden next. And that's the damn truth. And we have here on the chat line, Ben L. Hey, how are you doing, my friend? Let's see here. If you all like what you heard, press like and comment. Comment any way you didn't like what I have to say. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it. We are the muckrakers of our time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And remember, wage class war, oppose military conflict, fight for equality for all people, support free speech, support freedom of the press, because when people like Julian Assange isn't free, none of us are free, which makes us all Julian Assange. And until next time, I am Willie Bragg, and I will conclude by singing to you all music.